Welcome to another Spreadsheeters video guide. You can find written instructions for these steps on the Spreadsheeters website. In this video, we'll answer the question, how do I compare two Excel spreadsheets? Comparing two Excel sheets is an operation you will frequently need to do when working with data sets in Excel. This happens especially when you're consolidating data from different sources and need to compare the two sheets looking for differences and for matches. When comparing two sheets, there are two aspects you need to look at. One is to compare the two sheets for missing data, and the second is to compare them for mismatches in values. So the method you use depends on the kind of comparison that you are doing. So let's look at the first option where I'm trying to look for missing data between two sheets. So here I have a sheet called Mary that has a list of customers given by an executive named Mary, and another one from an executive called George who was given the list of customers. I want to compare these two sheets and try to find out which values match and which don't. So to do that, I will use the VLOOKUP function. So the VLOOKUP function takes as its first argument the value being looked up, and then I need to specify where I want to look for that value. In this case, it is the table given by George. So I will select that table, and then the next argument I need to specify is what column I want returned if I find a match. In this case, I want column number 2, which is the name of the executive. The last argument is false because I want Excel to look for an exact match. Now, here an error message is displayed because Excel could not find a match for this customer code in the George sheet. So before copying this down, I just need to make the cell reference constant for the George sheet, because for each value I want Excel to look up the entire table. I can then drag this formula down to the rest of the column, and I can straight away see which values match and which do not. So doing this from the first sheet alone is not enough. I need to repeat the exercise on the second sheet because there could be some names on the second sheet that don't come on the first. So let's again type the VLOOKUP formula here as well. In this case, I'm looking for the customer code from this sheet, and I then want to look this up in the Mary table. So I select the data here. Again, I want to return the second argument, and I'm looking for an exact match. So in this case, the first name does match. It's already there on the Mary sheet. So the name is displayed here, and I can then drag this down. So again, here I can see which names match and which do not. Of course, it is obvious that the names that match here and the ones that are given on the Mary sheet will be the same. And I need to pay attention to the differences. That is the names that are on the George sheet and not on the Mary sheet, and vice versa. So this is how to compare for missing data. We look at another scenario where I want to compare the values. So in this case, I will use the if function. Here I have two identical lists, and I want to compare the order value to see if the order value matches on both sheets. So to do that, I will use the if function. The if function, for its first argument, takes a logical test. So here the test is to check whether this value is equal to the corresponding value on the 22nd Jan sheet. Now, if it does match, I want Excel to display true, and if it does not match, I want it to display false. So I press enter. So in this case, the first value matches, so it shows true. I can drag this down to the rest of the column, and I can see which all values do not match. So in this way, I can compare two Excel spreadsheets, one either for values that don't match or for missing data. Please read the appended article for further guidance.